The ANC are in deep trouble over 85 million rands worth of debt that is owed. So some of their assets have been seized, some of their bank accounts have been frozen. I've got some articles here for you this morning, and then I want to dive into a comment that I received on TikTok specifically that I think as we unpack the comment, I think it'll be worth your while to take a listen. It has to do with apartheid, it has to do with black economic redress, and as well as to what you and I can do as a South African citizen moving forward, or a citizen of whatever country you might be in today. But one thing I can tell you is that your country is worth fighting for. South Africa, in my opinion, is the greatest country ever, and this country is worth fighting for. It is worth fighting for the faith within this country, the families of this country, the future of this country, as well as the freedom of this country. It is ultimately worth fighting for. So here's some articles regarding the ANC debt situation. So apparently, according to IOL, the ANC owes Ezulweni Investments in relation to a contract for election campaign materials, posters and banners, etc., dating back to 2019. So they owe this particular company, obviously, for this 2019 campaign. Another article over here from IOL is Ezulweni has obtained a writ of execution dated 3 October 2025 to attach the ANC's assets, which are movable goods and incorporeal property. So those are rights, accounts, holdings, etc., in order to recover the debt. So there has to be a way for them to pay back the debt, right? But the debt is absolutely massive. They are suggesting it's around 85 million rand, as mentioned. So the reports say that office equipment, namely desks, chairs, computers, cabinets, fridges, microwaves, etc., valued at around 140,000, was seized from the Luthuli House, which is the ANC headquarters, like you guys well know, in execution of the writ. It also reported, that's from the Citizen, it also reported that at least 3 bank accounts of the ANC have been attached, frozen due to this debt process. And as well, lastly over here, IOL media reports also suggest that if the debt is not settled, Ezulweni, the company that they owe, may proceed with liquidation proceedings against the ANC. So they are finding themselves in quite a mess over there. Big lesson, all right? Big lesson over here. Big lesson over here. Big lesson over here. Make sure that you don't overextend yourself when it comes to finances. But more so, I want to dive into a little comment that I received on TikTok not too long ago, and then I want to unpack this comment because I believe it will really empower you and equip you in a massive and mighty way. Because for me personally, I want you and I to have the right mindset with regards to our approach to this beautiful country of South Africa. This country matters, your life matters, every decision that you make matters, and we can't allow ourselves to be stuck in the past, because our past is too heavy to carry into our present and our future. We can definitely learn from our past, however, we should not be living in our past. So this is a comment I received on our TikTok channel over there, based on a video that we did where we said basically that BE is a scam. We more recently did a video on that, a bit more of a breakdown on this YouTube channel. So please go sure to check that. Please be sure to check that out. So this individual here said, in his mind, we can't see that he's an apartheid apologist who made it clear he doesn't believe black people deserve economic redress. So a couple of things over here. This is absolute lies. It's ridiculous and it's not the truth. For me personally, I completely, number one, reject the premise of the fact that this guy called me an apartheid apologist. I'm completely against apartheid. I believe that apartheid is evil, it is wicked, it is ungodly, and it is wrong. Because any type of segregation is evil based on color. It is wrong. However, when another new governmental regime comes in and starts making certain laws and certain policies which again uplift one race above the other, that is also wrong. It just basically becomes reverse racism and reverse discrimination now moving forward. And we see this playing out at a massive scale. Locally in South Africa, we have one of the worst youth unemployment rates in the world. 62.4% of young people in this country is unemployed. From my side specifically, our organization, King and Me, works a lot with young people. And we actually yesterday asked a couple of the boys that we work with, we asked them and said to them, listen champs, when you guys leave school, what is one of your biggest fears of leaving school? And you'll be shocked. The main answer that came through over there was that they feared if they were going to get a job or not. They were scared with regards to, are they going to be able to be employed moving forward or not? It's one of their biggest fears for young men, right? However, if young men go into the workforce, entitled or expecting to receive things for trauma or a traumatic experience that they themselves did not go through, which namely is apartheid, okay? They're not going to approach the workforce the way they ought to be approaching the workforce, because they're going to walk in there entitled, which will result in pride. And we all know what comes before the fall, right? It's pride. Pride comes before the fall. So I'm completely against any type of racial policies, because why? It's a shield for corruption. It just basically exposes more and more, and it exposes and expands more and more mediocrity. It creates a greater divide and a greater division amongst people, and a hatred amongst people, and therefore you can't build a united nation like that moving forward. You can't. It's impossible. Okay? Because again, I don't believe we are supposed to be judging people based on the color of their skin. We should be looking at the character of a person. We should be looking at the soul of a person and who the person actually is. What fruit are they bearing on their tree, irrespective of their race or color or social status. We should be looking at their character. We should be looking at the fruit on their trees. That's what we should be looking at. With regards to this person saying, I don't believe that black people deserve redress, that's economic redress. That's a lie. I do believe that the individuals, the black people of color, who during the time of apartheid were personally abused during that time, they deserve redress. Absolutely. And this has happened through the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. This has happened through the Restitution of the Land Rights Act 1994, where billions of rands have been paid back to individuals who lost their lands due to the apartheid regime. And during that time, when this was busy, when this was now busy happening, all right, the payouts over here, the compensation over here, people opted to receive the compensation and not the land. And that should also tell us a couple of things. Now, I'm personally of the belief that did you hear my words? Every citizen of this beautiful country of South Africa, every person residing within this country, every legal citizen residing inside of this beautiful country of South Africa, all right, has the opportunity to achieve economic freedom moving forward. However, you and I are not going to achieve economic freedom by marching in the streets, by striking, and by demanding. That's not how you achieve it. You achieve it by working hard, by persevering, by planning, by preparing, by committing yourself, all right, moving forward in the line of your work, whatever that looks like, by developing your skill set, by developing your mindset, by developing your tool set, by developing these areas that actually matter, but more importantly, by you and I responding to the grace of God that is upon our lives. Because there's none of us who came through our mother's womb without carrying a gift that God gave us. You carry a gift, all right, and that is God's gift to you. And it is your responsibility and my responsibility to respond to the ability God has blessed us with through developing this gift or gifts that God gave us so that we can use them and serve them to the world. Because the way we achieve economic freedom, again, is not through marching or striking or demanding or chanting some weird songs. The way that we achieve this economic freedom is by adding value to other people. And the way we add value to other people is by solving other people's problems. And therefore, we need to be more focused on other people than we are ourselves, and how we can actually solve those problems for them through the skill set, through the mindset, and through the tool set that God has ultimately blessed us with. And anybody can achieve that. And therefore, I want to leave all of you watching this video today with this thought here. Anybody can achieve greatness in South Africa. Why? Because greatness has got nothing to do with the color of your skin or your social status, but has everything to do with the decisions that you make. And God, our creator, the author of life, is more than willing to help you and I to become the men, become the women that He's called us to be, to help us in those decisions. Because again, every single one of us are going to go through problems. Every single one of us are going to go through trials and tribulations. Every single one of us are going to go through some tough times. Life is a full contact sport. You're going to get hit by life at some point. The question is, when you do get hit, what are you going to do? How are you going to respond? Are you going to remain a victim, or are you going to embrace what God says, that we are more than conquerors through Christ who loves us? It's your choice. It's your decision. Right? It's your choice. It's your decision. My hope is that we would decide to follow Jesus Christ, that we would decide to build our lives not upon opinions, but upon the truth of God's word. He says we are the head and not the tail, above and not beneath, always at the top and never at the bottom. Now, you can either receive that or you can reject that. The choice is yours. There are consequences for both. All right? And my hope is that you and I would live with the consequences that God actually has for our lives. Your life matters, champ. your life matters, and you can achieve greatness as well as economic freedom within this beautiful country of South Africa. Why? Because greatness has got nothing to do with the color of your skin, but has everything to do with the decisions that you now make moving forward. And God's grace is upon us for you to make the right decisions that will actually move your life forward rather than you being stuck in your past. Champ, if you got something out of this video, I'm encouraging you to like the video, drop your comments down here below, subscribe if you have not yet done so, and we'll see you, Lord willingly, on the next one. Familia, those that are living in South Africa legally, I want you to know that South Africa is the greatest country ever. This nation matters. Your life matters. Let's do something to rescue and rebuild this beautiful country. And what do? We become the people God has called us all to be.